I started making works last year that were to do with found images I'd found of my mother's apartment on a real estate website. My mother passed away in 2011, and after that I moved from Perth to Sydney, and I didn't have with me any photographs or memorabilia or anything like that. And one day I found myself online kind of trying to search for something. I searched for her address, and I found these images advertising her place for sale. And it was kind of strange. I went back to the studio and projected them kind of large on the wall, and it was this kind of like rupture in my memory process. So, the last thing I remember about being in her apartment was packing it all up for one of those photographs to be taken, and there was that photograph. And they're kind of awkward, fuzzy, terribly shot images. They never really kind of capture anything that was part of that lived space. And so I kind of became really interested in the way that that projected light was kind of transferring this new memory into something that I'd known so well, I'd had a lived experience with. And what became really interesting when it was projected was the way that the light in the projection was flickering, as if it were the light that was coming through the windows or the doors in the space. And I kind of sort of started to play with how I could maybe play with that mechanism of the projector to kind of give a sense of sort of reclaiming that space of that photograph and remaking a new photograph from it. So in the work in the Redlands, I have a painting that my mother made, and I'm moving it from my apartment that I currently live in now onto a wall that's got the image of her hallway where it would have been projected onto it. And this projection is onto a photographic paper which I've fixed using a lumen process, so I've projected onto it and goes straight into the fixer. So you always get this kind of after image as the sort of lights flicker between the two surfaces. It's not really a concept as such. Like I'm dealing with, obviously it comes from a very personal place, but I think that there's just as much a question about photography and the image and the shadow of the image and all those sort of things in the work without having to make that explicit. Throughout my practice, I've always been interested in the way that the digital image works and conveys space and time and temporality, so it's not so much concepts as it is kind of a way of thinking or a way of working out something.